going to be doing a lot of celebrating, a lot of rounds of applause, so make yourself comfortable. If people want to come a little bit this way so you can spread the room out. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Dwayne Dixon. I've known Leo for a number of years. It's so good to see so many familiar faces, new faces, friends, and loved ones. Leo asked me to read off some names of people, which is always terrible because I always forget somebody. So if I do, I apologize. I do want to shout out some amazing organizers, the architect of empowering communities, Ms. Jasmine Salas. We've got a couple candidates for DC, Guadalupe Puja, Nia Blessing Armstrong, David Canario, and Jesus Ayala. And also some of our elected officials, Beth Rochford, Ashley Vargas, Rosie Dominguez, Deidre O'Connor, Keshia Smith, and last but not least, Mr. Dion McGill. I think this is such a testament to the people who show up for amazing leaders, and Leo is one such leader. We're here to celebrate Leo and to kick this campaign off, but this is a lot more than just a campaign. This is about a vision for the 25th Ward. And there's no better day to be doing that, working the 25th, than on the 25th of July. So we're really excited to be here. Leo is an amazing organizer, which we're going to talk a lot about today, and you're going to hear from a lot of amazing speakers, people who know Leo very well. So myself and Jessica are going to be your hosts for today. I'm going to turn it over to her for a quick translation. Give it up for Jessica.
Hola a todos y bienvenidos. Un fuerte aplauso para Leo. Quiero decirles gracias a todos por estar aquí presentes para nosotros hoy. Quiero reconocer a los líderes comunitarios, las familias, las amistades, los vecinos. Muchísimas gracias por estar presentes con nosotros hoy. Como dijo Dwayne, hoy es más que una campaña. Es sobre la comunidad, la visión para el Distrito 25. Muchas gracias por su presencia, para estar con nosotros y por ser parte de esa visión. Vamos, un aplauso. Esta noche escucharemos historias de personas que han conocido a Leo por años, por tiempo, sobre su carácter, cómo es como líder y por qué es la perfecta persona para este trabajo. Con eso, estamos listos a conocer su futuro concejal. ¿Estamos listos?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Buenas noches. So my name is Andrew Herrera. I've been an organizer here in the 25th Ward for 12 years now. It's crazy, time flies. I think I've known Javi for all 12 of those years. And so I've been a part of a lot of different campaigns at every single level, from alderman to Congress and everything in between. And I think every time we launch one of these campaigns, something that we forget about sometimes is to ground ourselves in why it matters. And so a lot of times these offices are kind of abstract, right? People hold power, and we understand that it's important, but we're not totally clear on what it does. And one of the things that I think with aldermen, all of us, so what I'm here to do today is just contextualize that and ground us in why it's so important that Leo wins this race. And with aldermen, I think most people understand the role of an alderman is really like the ward janitor, the ward fixture, the one who makes, fixes the potholes, makes sure the water runs, keeps the lights on, and generally is the first point of contact for everybody with their government, period. And it goes beyond that also, because the alderman really doesn't have power to do a lot of the different things that people want the alderman to do. They can't fix bridges because maybe it's a state highway, or maybe the railroad owns it, or there's lots of complicating factors. And so what becomes important is that the alderman also is your first level of advocacy, right? Is a person that has to be able to organize in with Springfield, with DC, with whoever, with City Hall, everybody else. And so, but where it becomes critically important is that really the alderman's office is like the front office of democracy, right? If somebody feels that they can go to their alderman and they can get their problems fixed, that's the first and most important step for them believing that democracy matters, that they have power to effectuate change in their lived experience in the world. And so before we can get to all the big things that we want to get to, before we can really address the big problems about the world being on fire and all the ways that it's on fire, we have to be able to have effective leadership at the ward level. And I'll say one more thing, is that the Dailies understood, and the old Chicago machine really understood, that if you can deliver ward services and you can make people believe that you are the only one who can be there, making sure that the lights stay on, the water keeps running, the roads stay paved, then you can do everything else, right? And the Chicago machine, what they did, Macy's really fired up for this campaign. And what they used that political power for was to take care of the corporations, right? They used that power to maintain their own power. And in many ways sold us downriver, right? And I think what we're seeing right now in New York with Mayor Mamdani was the first thing that he did. The first thing he did was a classic Chicago thing of taking care of a snowstorm, right? And he put a shovel in everyone's hand, paid them $50 an hour, and everyone was happy with it because every single street got clean overnight, people got money in their pocket, and the city saved money. And then what's the second thing that he was able to do because he built all that political capital? He got early daycare, right? At pre-K, extending it down to 2 years old. We can do big things if we can build the political capital to do those big things, but that comes with doing the hard work, the thankless work, at the ward level. And I don't want to take up too much time, so the last thing I'll say is that, I've seen a lot of candidates over the past 12 years, and in my perspective, what I think makes for a great alderman is somebody, you look at Alderman Quinn, who is not on our side of things, progressive, but he knows what he's doing, right? He's one of these old machine guys, and so he's retiring this year. He says, I just don't have what it takes anymore to get that phone call at 8 a.m. on a Sunday because somebody's car is blocking the church parking lot, right? And wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning on a cold-ass February, shovel out every neighbor's driveway, because that's what it takes to be a good alderman. And that is what it takes, and you've got to be able to be there for people. You've got to be the one that everyone knows or knows somebody who knows. You've got to be the one that your phone number is just out there. You're going to get calls all day and night. You're showing up to everybody's funeral. You're showing up to everyone's block party. You're showing up to the fun times and the bad times too. And that takes a kind of tirelessness, and also it takes a kind of love for people in the community. And it's something that in 12 years of doing this, I have never been confident in anyone to do that, except for Leo. Yeah. So I'll say that I'm here and I'm committed to fighting this fight alongside Leo and alongside all of you to make sure that we have not just a good but a great alderman in the 25th Ward.
Let's go.
And that we can do this so we can all step forward together to build something even bigger to solve the big problems that we all must face. So thank you everybody for being here, and let's go get this thing done.
Give it up one more time for Andrew. Everything he said was so very true, and there is nobody that we have more belief and confidence in than Leo to make this work. And I think we started a little bit earlier. Maisie was hyped up. If at any point throughout the evening you want to cheer, you want to holler, you want to clap, or open your wallets, we will accept it all. So we're really appreciative to have everybody here, and we want you to show up as your authentic selves. And I think that's something that Leo brings to bear every single day. Being himself on the front lines, in communities, at City Hall, everywhere he goes, he shows up with everybody on his back. He's never alone because he brings everybody with him. The city of Chicago is one of the most world-class cities across the globe. We can agree on that, right? Yeah. And there's also a tale of two cities. There are, in fact, two different Chicagos. One where opportunity is expected for everybody, and the other where opportunity has to be fought tooth and nail every single day. And that's what this community is filled with, people who fight next door to each other, next door neighbors, people who just met each other, people who are going to meet each other, people who just met one another today in this room. Leo has stood on the front lines of making sure that we can bridge the gap between those two cities, and I've seen him do it firsthand because he's taken me out in the streets with him. Every time a young person walks up and says something, he not only listens, but he listens to understand, not to respond. Leo creates a space and opportunity where everybody feels respected, heard, and most importantly, treated with dignity. So many of our Chicagoans are growing up in poverty, surrounded by poverty, and really challenged by the conditions of what happens, and they deserve a leader who understands that. Leo is that leader because he's actually lived it. He's grown up right here in Pilsen and he has not left. So many of us, myself included, left the communities that we grew up in. To advance our own careers, to create more opportunities for ourselves, Leo decided to stay because he wants to bring the entire 25 with him. It's not about leaving to go make yourself better, but how do we make a community better? And there is nobody who does that day in, day out, and does the things that Leo does and shows up in every single space. So I'm very excited to cast my vote for Leo, and I'm hoping that everybody in this room will as well. We can clap. We can clap. I'm going to bring up Jessica to introduce our next speaker. Give it up for Jess.
Y Dwayne. Lo que acabamos de escuchar es una realidad para muchas familias. Hay barrios donde familias tienen oportunidades abundantes y hay otros donde las familias tienen que luchar para oportunidades. Y la pobreza no es una falla personal. Y es muy importante que los líderes entiendan estas cosas, que tienen estas realidades para que puedan apoyar a su comunidad. So, vamos a seguir con historias de comunidad, de crecimiento y vamos a presentar a Lupe Puga. Gracias.
Hi everyone. I worked a little number for you guys. I'm gonna sing. I'm just kidding. But I say that because I love karaoke, and the story actually begins with karaoke. So a lot of you asked me today, like, oh, how do you know Leo? And I think I tell Leo this all the time. It's a meet cute because do you guys remember back in 2022 there was a karaoke contest, the Lori Lightfoot karaoke contest? Yeah. So it was across a lot of different bars, but I decided that I wanted to participate at Caminos de Michoacán because that's my local Pilsen bar, right? So I went there, and at some point in the night, there was a shooting, right? The security guard got shot, and we kind of had to just wait inside until the police came and escorted us out. And I started making my way back home, and that's when I met Leo's mom. And she was outside, and she's like, oh, ¿qué pasó? And I was telling her, like, oh, like, someone got shot. And I'm chatting it up with her, and then Leo comes outside, and he's like, why are you talking to my mom? And I was like, your mom's talking to me. And I told him what happened, right? And again, he's such an active listener, and I think I was a little still traumatized of what was happening and processing it, but he just says, hey, I'm Leo, and I run this thing called Peace and Pilsen, and you should follow me. And it was so funny because I had seen that account pop up in my Instagram algorithm, so there was something in the universe, right? And I followed the Instagram, I followed his community Instagram as well, and I noticed that this was a person that whenever there was any kind of crisis, he was just there to help, which was really inspiring. And something that happened shortly after we met was that Texas was shipping people to Chicago. The Venezolanos, Colombianos, people that were seeking asylum were in Texas, and they were just getting bused and dropped off in police stations across the city. But for whatever reason, a lot of them ended up in Pilsen, sleeping on the floor with no clothes, no medications, and nothing, right? And I saw that Leo started visiting and posting about going to this police station, and so I reached out and I was like, hey, this is in my backyard, how can I help? And he's like, meet me here at this time. And I walked in with him. He introduced me to a couple of the folks that were there and just kind of showed me what he does. And ever since then, I realized the power of mutual aid and decided that this was something that I wanted to kind of take on, and I ended up becoming the leader of the District 12 mutual response team. And I think that the thing that I want to point across is that Leo's constantly planting seeds of opportunity. There is an opportunity at the local school council of Benito Juarez, and again, it was another thing that he was like, I think you would be a really great candidate, you should look into it, think about it. And this is my third year, and I'm VP now, so I'm like, okay. So all this to say, everyone has a place in community, and Leo believes that. And again, he's constantly planting seeds of change, seeds of opportunity. And I don't think that I would know any of you in this room if it wasn't for Leo. So I'm really grateful for our friendship. I don't think that there's anyone better in the community to run for this, to continue planting seeds of change, to continue planting seeds of opportunity, and to continue giving other people a voice in their community. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. I can't wait to see Leo's name on the ballot.
Gracias, Lupe. Un fuerte aplauso más. Muchas gracias por compartir su historia y creo que lo más importante de esa historia es el liderazgo de Leo y cómo es importante para él crear más líderes. Leo comparte oportunidades, contactos, sus conocimientos y siempre ayuda a otras personas a descubrir su capacidad de ser líder. Y siempre anima a la gente a seguir creciendo y sirviendo. Necesitamos ese tipo de líder en el centro. Leo incluirá las voces de la comunidad en sus decisiones y él cree que todos pertenecen sin importar cuándo llegaron al distrito. El distrito les pertenece a quienes viven aquí. Muchas gracias, Lupa, por toda la historia. Y la próxima speaker, José Rivera.
Hello, good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Everybody's been kind of ad-libbing it, but I have wrote it out like a little essay. I did write it out just because it feels like I've known him since high school, so it feels like I kind of know him, and I saw his origin story, kind of like who he was going to become. So I'll tell you the story now. I first met Leo back in 2007 when I was starting to make my first year at Rudy Lozano Leadership Academy. At the time, I was making bad decisions and I was getting kicked out of a bunch of schools, so I made it there. But I was really doing the bare minimum. Then a future mentor of ours introduced me to Leo. He looked at me and said, "Yeah, I know who this is. This is dude with the hair." He said, "Dude with the hair? What type of nickname is that?" Following a few months, watching him be a leader in the school changed my perspective, and I decided to get involved, just as he was. He would work with teachers to organize May Day marches, trips to City Hall, walkouts, and crisis management. He pushed students to get involved. He pushed students to connect, and he pushed students to organize within their community. It shows you how deep Leo's roots are in his community. As a high schooler, he's already taking these tasks on with a smile on his face. He was even getting chairs to the face, because that's what's going on in our high school. The years have passed, but Leo continues to be a community leader. I've seen Leo quite literally peel a teenager off the street, sit down with somebody at 4 in the morning on a balcony, them describing who they lost. And I've seen the smile that he shows when he sees youth deciding what college they're going to. A couple of weeks ago, I was watching the World Cup with a couple of friends, and the subject of what we all do for work came up. I looked at my friends and I said, "I don't know what you do." But then one of them jokingly, he was kind of aggravated, he said, "What's your friend Leo do?" And I snapped back and I said, "He fights for his community." He co-founded the Peace in Pilsen, which was named the best youth initiative by Southside Weekly. He's part of the 12th Police District Council. He's a mental health professional. He's a restorative justice practitioner. Developed preventative programming for youth and their families to better suit their situations. He's conducted gang mediation and is a part-time Santa. Damn, I'm not a horrible friend. I just don't know what an account manager does or an economist does. I can stand here all day and tell you about what this man has done in his community, but don't do me a favor and walk up to him and have a conversation with him. Watch as he listens to you intently. He'll make you feel like the only person in that room. Leo cares for every person in his community. He wants us safe. He wants us thriving. He wants peace. Yo, man, I can't believe you got a whole high school to call me dude with the hair. And I can't believe you supported him. I'm one of many stories, but there are so many more. It's a pleasure to call you a friend, but even if I wasn't, I would be here supporting you for everything you stand. Continue to be the change you want to see in your community.
Gracias, dude with hair. Creo que todos que conocen a Leo, he gives us another. He calls us how he wants, how he sees us. Lo que me encanta hoy es que las personas que mejor conocen a Leo están hablando de las cosas que no se puede fingir, de su carácter, su compromiso, su forma de tratar a las personas, su forma de escuchar, de luchar para su comunidad. Y durante años ha estado presente Leo para su comunidad y para todos que lo rodean. Ahora escucharemos a una persona que conoció a Leo durante uno de los momentos más difíciles de su vida y estamos muy agradecidos para su historia. Vamos a recibir a Javier Ruiz.
Ok, hola a todos. Mira, me dijeron, no tengo nada tan preparado, porque me dijeron, necesitas decir unas palabras como 20 minutos antes de esta junta empezó. Pero estoy hablando, una historia de cuando yo inicialmente conocí a Leo. Era como más o menos 2021 en ese tiempo. Yo estaba viendo a Leo, estaba en la comunidad luchando para subir el salario mínimo, subirlo al 15 a la hora. Y es cuando inicialmente conocí a Leo, ser luchador para derechos de trabajadores. Pero y luego, después de eso, había como una gran lucha aquí en nuestra comunidad. Era cuando la ciudad de Chicago estaba tratando de implementar un plan para poner un distrito TIF aquí en nuestra comunidad. Sí, ese es muy controversial y voy a pedir disculpas, mi español no es perfecto, tengo español de un nacido aquí, pero voy a tratar. Okay. Pero no voy a explicar todos los detalles técnicos, pero básicamente un TIF es cuando la ciudad de Chicago crea que un área va a subir en valor y los impuestos van a subir y vamos a sacar ese dinero del pueblo para usarlo para unos proyectos, para invertir en proyectos que no necesariamente están para nosotros en la comunidad. Nuestros dueños de casas pequeños van a pagar esa factura para desarrolladores privados. ¿Okay? Nosotros, Leonardo y mucho en la comunidad, ¿por qué van a pelear en contra de eso? El alcalde ya tiene sus planes, ustedes más están luchando en algo que no va a ganar. Y yo dijo, mira Javi, vamos a poner en serio. Si queremos parar eso, vamos a colectar peticiones, vamos a tocar puertas, vamos a llamar a gente, porque no podemos tener este TIF en nuestra comunidad. Con todos los cínicos aquí en el barrio de Pilsen dijeron, ustedes van a perder, no hay chance, ustedes están luchando en contra del concejal y el mayor de Chicago, ustedes van a perder. Pero el tío dijo, no, vamos a tocar puertas. ¿Y qué hicimos? Recibimos más de 2,000 peticiones aquí en Pilsen en contra del plan de expansión del TIF. Y empezamos con unos 3, 5 de nosotros. Sí, fuimos cínicos, pero al final era ese, como decirlo, como translate it, right? A seed that was planted, like, sí podemos hacerlo. Vamos a hacerlo porque cambio no empieza con un oficial electado, empieza con gente con una idea que quieren hacer algo para su comunidad. No nomás empieza, nomás porque se sienten bien los oficiales electados. Cambio empieza con la gente cuando ellos quieren empujar un plan. Un poco de yo trabajo asistiendo a inquilinos, luchando y abogando para derechos de inquilinos. Y como siempre vemos en nuestra ciudad, que a veces la ciudad, concejales, a veces están en el lado de los dueños de casa, o como voy a traducirlo bueno, corporate landlords, dueños que tienen más de 50 edificios, y siempre recibimos quejas de no quieren reparar su casa, o no quieren reparar el calentor en el tiempo de frío. Y yo sé que Leo, él va a ser el luchador para los derechos de inquilinos aquí, pero no también nomás inquilinos, también los dueños de casa pequeños aquí. Entonces, tenemos comprobante de su dedicación en esta lucha, y por eso quiero nomás decir esta historia, nomás para decir que sí, estamos empujando al Leo para concejal, pero no nomás es de Leo, ¿ok? Un candidato no es candidato sin gente. El candidato nomás está bueno con el gente que lo está abogando, que lo está empujando. Again, my Spanish not straight, but the point I'm trying to get across is a candidate is only as good as the people behind him. So we're all here, right? And we're all pushing for Leo. And I know he'll make a great alderman, future alderman. So we're gonna plant that seed. February 23rd, my bad, getting the dates wrong, but point being, this coming February, yes, we know that Leo is gonna, when we get those voter rolls, we're gonna see Leo, up in first place, right? And we're gonna have a future alderman that actually fights for the people. So, lo voy a pasar a Dwayne, aquí.
Give it up one more time for Javi. Javi reminds us of just all the different places that Leo shows up. It's not just about what happens at City Hall, but on the streets. And everybody in this room has a different story with Leo. We actually asked Javi to speak about 45 minutes ago, and he came up with something beautiful. And I think that speaks volumes to, these are the kinds of conversations and relationships people have with Leo. Without time to prepare, without a whole time to figure out what am I gonna say, here's what comes from the heart. And everyone is saying kind of the same things along the same lines, whether it's standing on street corners, going into schools to organize students, fighting against TIF. Leo is gonna be by your side every moment. And something I keep hearing today is that Leo plants a seed. There's a saying that the best time to plant a tree was 25 years ago. And the next best time to plant it is right now. Leo continues to plant seeds every single day, and he's going to plant one today, tomorrow, and every day until we get to the election. So very excited. I'm so excited for these next few speakers because everybody knows Leo in different capacities. Some of us have been on the street corners with him. Some of us have been knocking doors, sleeping on people's lawns in protest, and doing everything in between. And we've heard some amazing adult leaders who've been on the ground with him. And it's time to hear from our young people. So many people talk about young people. So many people talk at young people. And Leo is a leader that actually talks with them and listens to them. So I want to bring up a very special young person who's been working with Leo for a number of years. Please welcome Miss Brianna Tapia. Give it up for Brianna Tapia.
Hi, good afternoon. Brianna, and I've known Leo my whole 17 years of living. I've been around Pilsen my whole life. My favorite part has been seeing everyone outside together. It reminds me of the movies, where all your friends just happen to be at the playground or the soccer field. As my friends and I got older, hangouts consisted of trips to the dollar store for snacks, afternoons at the park, and walks to La Michoacana. We got louder, taller, and maybe a little sneakier. But somewhere along the way, just asking to go to the corner store became harder. I felt like the older we got, the more people stopped seeing us as kids and started seeing us as a problem. What's always been disappointing to me is how often people assume that when summer comes around, young people coming outside too means trouble's coming. So many adults think that there's a connection between young people gathering and crime, instead of seeing us as teenagers who want somewhere to belong. I understand where some of that fear comes from. My friend Axel, one of the kindest and smallest kids I knew, was shot at a family event in 2023. Moments like that change the way you see your neighborhood. They remind you that safety isn't something every young person gets to take for granted. Young people carry more than many people realize, especially in neighborhoods like Pilsen. In crowded homes like mine, going outside isn't just about having fun. It's where we make memories, spend time with friends, and give our families a little more space to breathe. My siblings and I should be able to ask to go outside without our parents worrying whether we'll make it home safely. That's why Leo stands out to me. Instead of telling young people we don't belong, he invites us into spaces where we're usually overlooked. He reminds us that downtown is our city too. He even taught me how to navigate myself through the city. I often see the efforts he puts in to make spaces and events for us. He cares. He doesn't just tell young people what we should do. He asks us what we need. I still remember passing out flyers for Leo during his district council campaign 4 years ago. I wasn't old enough to vote, but I believed in what he was fighting for because I saw how he treated young people with dignity, respect, and the belief that we have something valuable to contribute. In fact, I think him inviting me to speak here today shows his awareness within his whole community, not just those over 18.
Yeah.
Young people don't need leaders who are afraid of us. We need leaders who are willing to invest in us. We need safe neighborhoods, fully funded schools, jobs, and places where young people can gather without being treated like criminals. I know Leo will keep fighting for young people and our families because I've already seen him do it. He didn't wait until he was running for office to believe in us. Now I'm preparing to vote for the first time, and I will be proudly casting my vote for Leo. I hope you all will join me. Thank you.
Give it up again for Brianna, everybody. Amazing. Again, gracias para compartir su historia con nosotros y otra historia de cómo Leo es como líder, como defensor y cómo protege a su comunidad. Lo más importante a los jóvenes y cómo se trata como adultos y como los líderes del futuro que son. Gracias, Brianna, por su historia. Y we have another youth speaker in the room with us, Chloe, who we're very excited to bring to the stage and hear your story. Give it up for Chloe, everybody.
Good afternoon. My name is Chloe Delon. For the first 15 years of my life, I struggled to find my own voice. I was either timid at best or incomprehensible at my worst. During my formative years, I trembled and gasped between each of my words I attempted to pronounce. My severe speech impediment made communicating with others borderline impossible. Each offhanded comment or stifled laugh I received made me ache inside. I knew I had big ideas to share, but I boxed them up to avoid criticism and embarrassment. With each passing year, I increasingly became quieter. Once I started high school, I stayed to myself. Although I was very quiet, I tried to make an effort to be more engaged within my community. This effort changed my perspective entirely. My first encounter with Leo was for a town hall meeting. I remember being inside the auditorium with navy blue curtains, and my alderman's focus during this meeting was small businesses and a general Q&A section about constituent grievances. As the town hall was about to finish, my alderman wanted to highlight some nonprofits in the area. Then I heard Leo talking about the All-Stars Project. Through Leo's passion and enthusiasm, I decided to apply to this program. I remember the first few sessions, I was dripping with sweat and anxiety, and although initially I thought certain improv activities Leo instructed us to do were either cringe or weird, I realized those warm-ups helped bond with the adults and teens around me because we were all willing to be a little vulnerable together. With each passing year, I decided to become more at ease and more open. Leo encouraged me to stay true to myself, no matter the setting. Within the city of Chicago, teenagers have been historically underestimated about encouragement or support. Young people often begin to believe that their opinions don't matter or that their voices will never be heard. Leo never let me believe that. Instead, he challenges young people to speak up and lead. For the first time, I began to see my voice as not a weakness, but as something worth sharing. Today, I stand before you as someone who struggled to say a single sentence out loud to someone being able to speak in front of an audience. Thank you. That's the kind of leadership Leo brings to our community. If you want a leader who will believe in every voice, even a voice that struggled to be heard, then I hope you join me in supporting Leo.
Give it up one more time for Chloe. That actually beautifully summed up Leo in a whole, because he believes that everybody has potential, not just those who you can clearly see it, and that's everything that he's about. He inspires me every single day, and he continues to push me to be a better leader for young people. And I know that everybody in this room has an experience where they're like, I know how Leo made me better. So I'm just continuously proud to be on this stage to speak for my brother. And Leo, as we were coming up and getting to know each other, he shared, growing up in Pilsen, he was always told, don't cross a certain street because the people that don't look like us will treat you different. And then he grew up and he started to make relationships with people who didn't look like him. And he realized they were told the same thing about him. And the important piece of that is that Leo does the work of making connections, learning new people, and deciding, I'm gonna understand your story and I want you to understand mine. So please do not leave here today without connecting with somebody else. Do the work that Leo does every day, and let's all be better a little bit, okay? I am so excited and blessed to be up here to actually introduce the man, the myth, the legend. It's time to hear from him directly. Let's give it up for Leo.
All right. Hello, everybody. I got gassed up a lot, so a lot of great speeches went on, so it's going to be hard to follow those. So bear with me. I don't know how many people follow us on social media, but we dropped a video called the What If video, right? If you haven't, make sure to go follow us, Leo for Community at Instagram. Selfless plug. So the speech starts like this. This campaign began with a question: what if? As we take our first step, I want to keep that same curiosity, but shift it to how. How can we create a government that fully serves its people? How do we ensure that the voices of the many are in the rooms that are usually reserved for the few? And how do we transition our organizing wins into tangible legislation that makes your life and all of our lives better? Thank you to our speakers. Thank you to my family. They're all in the corner for some reason. Thank you to new allies and old friends. Thank you for being here and standing in community with us, standing in community with each other. This room is unlike any other room in Chicago right now. This room holds so much collective power that some people would consider it dangerous or even fugitive. Because look around. We have elders, young people, renters, homeowners, ideologically moderate people, and anarchists. We have longtime organizers, and we have people who are becoming politically active for the very first time. You see, this room is what community looks like. This room is what community should be. It's people who care. It's people who want to transform the world for better. It is people from different backgrounds, different stories, different ideologies, but with very similar needs. Everyone in this room deserves dignity. Everyone in this room deserves their voice to be heard and valued. As I share a bit about my story, I need you to understand that this is my perspective, but the story itself belongs to so many of us across the city. I'm a proud son of 2 immigrant, monolingual speaking parents. My mom is here, my dad had to work, but shout out to him too. These streets, these neighborhoods, these people have watched me grow. Together we faced hardship and celebrated our victories. At age 8, I remember being rushed to the hospital, middle of the night, due to my asthma attack, and the doctor blamed my dog that we had to give away, instead of the polluters in our backyards. At age 11, I lost my first friend to gang violence. At age 12, I lost my first friend to deportation and state violence. At age 14, I found myself up against both the juvenile justice system and the educational system, being expelled from CPS and investigated by CPD. But one thing is that in that moment, I saw what true community was. Whether it was my family standing by me or complete strangers at an alternative school, refusing to give up on me, I experienced what it was for them to believe in someone. At that school, for the first time, I saw teachers from Pilsen and Little Village who had gone off to college come back and were giving back to the community. You see, that didn't make sense to me because I was always told, go to school, get a good job, and get out of the neighborhood. But seeing their dedication to the work, seeing how they challenged us to find our voice, understand our value, was something that I needed to experience. At 16, I began doing peer mentorship. My homie Dude helped lead the first walkout during the May Day March in 2006. And in that moment, I understood what it meant to have true people power. Since those days, I've walked back into the juvenile detention center as a court advocate. I've walked into CPS schools to conduct outreach for young people. You see, my community refused to give up on me, but I am just one story of many. We need a city and a government that does not function for 1 out of every 1,000 people. We need a government that works for everyone and supports all of us.
That's right.
I am running because I know firsthand what it feels like to be silenced, ignored, and thrown away. I am running because I refuse to let anyone have to go through the same thing. I am running because we all deserve good paying jobs, affordable housing, and the basic dignity of having our garbage picked up on time, our potholes filled, and public bathrooms when we're out enjoying our communities. You see, this campaign is not about propelling one person forward. It is about moving our city and our neighbors forward together. It is about each of you, your family, your friends, your neighbors, deserving better treatment and better services. This campaign is not about making empty promises. It is not about grandstanding on issues. This campaign is about improving our material conditions and focusing on how we can make each and every day better for all of you. In order to do that, we need to bring everyone with us. We need coalition, we need solidarity, and together we need to reject the tale of two cities and build a city that works for each of you. We're not here to ask for permission. No, we're not gonna get it. We're here to organize for the future. We're here to prove that ordinary people working together can create extraordinary things. And together we are gonna create 125. So I stand here before you today to say, mi nombre es Leonardo Quintero, and I am running for the 25th Ward.
That is the exact energy we need. Give it up one more time for Leo.